Are you sick and tired of asking your kids to do things and just getting no response?
Avery, please don't throw rocks above your head.
It's fine.
You're going to hurt yourself.
I've tried nagging. I've tried timeouts. I've tried counting 1 to 3, and nothing seems to work. I'm Sarah Stone, and today I'm sharing with you 6 more tips on how to get your kids to listen without any yelling or nagging. Tip number 1, listen to your children. I feel like I always make a point to listen to my children, but I have days when I'm behind on dinner or behind on the chores. The children are saying, "Look at me, listen." And I just kind of respond with, yeah, sure, that's great. And I'm not even really looking at them or paying any attention to them. I'm certainly not really listening. And if I'm not listening to them, you better believe that they're not going to listen to me. I have found that my children won't always do what I say, but they will do what I do. You've got to make eye contact and really be present and really hear them, which leads me to tip number 2, be in the moment. Many of us parents are barely ever present in the moment, and we're not even aware of it. I know I wasn't. Why? Because a lot of times we get stuck carrying over baggage from the past into the present. For instance, my child was rude to me 3 days ago. 3 days later, I'm still bringing it up. We hold on to these regrets and we hold on to these emotions from the past instead of truly living in the present moment.
What?
Or we start projecting our own emotions of what could happen in the future. Oftentimes we're completely unaware. So the best way to know if you're living in the past or in the future is to listen to your children, because our children are gurus of living in the moment. In fact, they only live in the moment, and that's why we clash with them sometimes. They could have a meltdown and then 2 minutes later be completely calm and happy. And we're over here wondering, how did they do this? If we really pay close attention, our children will let us know when we're being distracted by loudly demanding our attention. It's their way of saying, "Hey mom, hey dad, you're not being present with me. I need to connect with you." So here's a technique I learned of how to bring yourself into the moment. I learned it from a meditation expert named Emily Fletcher. I'll put more information to her in the comments below. And it's so simple. You basically just run through your 5 senses. Do it with me right now. See what I see, smell what I smell, taste what I taste, and feel what I feel. So just run through your senses 2 or 3 times, and it's amazing how quickly it brings you out of your head, out of the past, out of the future, and into what's around you and what's happening right now. Tip number 3 is the power pause. Our children are the most beautiful, loving creatures of our life, but they also test every ounce of my patience, and I could easily erupt into what I call the stress bomb. But once I explode, guess what? So do my children. And now I've got a nuclear family meltdown. The best way to prevent the stress bomb is to learn how to control your emotions. The power pause is as simple as it sounds. When my children aren't listening and they're acting defiant, I simply walk away and take a moment and take a pause to feel my emotions. Feel your emotions rising through your body like a wave. Allow them to rise. Allow the anger or pain or frustration to surface. Take a deep breath and it starts to dissipate and fade away. And then it rises again. Let it dissipate. Let this happen several times until you have it under control. But do not speak or yell or say anything to your children when you are at the peak of these emotions, because you will regret it. Once the emotions and the wave starts to quiet down, then go back to your children, get down on their level, eye to eye, and speak with a clear, calm voice. Everybody got the listening ears? Whoever can write this word.
I know what it spells.
What?
Cat. Cat.
Tip number 4, limit the screen time. We all know that excessive screen time causes problems with behavior, with academics, with even the sleep. I was completely shocked when I finally got the courage to cut down the screen time and how Avery suddenly was able to listen to me better than he had ever listened to me before.
What word?
Quail!
The days where I slip up and he has too much screen time, there's definitely a lot more of aggressive, defiant behavior. And the other thing I noticed is he started sleeping better, which is huge in this house. Now I'm trying to use screen time more and more as like a reward system. So if Avery's willing to do his lessons without any fussing, then he gets an hour's screen time afterwards.
We ready to read it?
Yeah!
And
And
Be firm and be consistent, which leads me to the next tip. Tip number 5, set clear boundaries. I've struggled with this one a lot. For instance, I'll tell my children, after you brush your teeth, you can never have a snack that will ruin your teeth. The next night, they beg me for a snack. They're starving to death, and they convince me, and I give them a banana after they've brushed teeth. Now my boundaries are confusing, and of course, my children are going to test the water every night and see if they can get that snack in after they brush their teeth. However, when I stick to the boundary and I'm firm and I'm consistent, then my children know that I'm serious and they will do the behavior that I'm asking without any questions. And tip number 6, ask questions instead of lecturing. The problem is lectures don't work, especially mine. They go on and on and on. Lecturing, nagging, and scolding, they don't inspire any kind of cooperation. It just never feels good, especially at a very long length to hear how someone else is so displeased with you. When lectures are long, kids grow resentful towards you and just stop listening. So stop lecturing and start asking good questions. Instead of, why did you do that? Try, how can you fix that? Instead of, what's wrong with you? Try, how could you do that different next time? Start asking questions that will lead to the answers you're looking for. Asking instead of lecturing will help your child to start thinking, and it'll show that you have faith in their ability to move forward in a positive direction. So just to summarize real quick, here were my 6 tips of how to get your child to listen. Number 1, listen to your child. And number 2, be in the moment. And number 3, the power pause. That was all about pausing and feeling your emotions. Number 4, limit screen time. And number 5, set clear boundaries. And number 6, ask questions instead of lecturing. I find that I'm able to implement these things for like a month at a time, and then slowly I start fading off and drifting back and reverting back to the old me. I just want you to know that it's an everyday thing. You have to continue working on yourself every day. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. My children aren't perfect. Their behavior certainly isn't perfect. But these are things that have really helped me, that are positive, that have made profound changes in their behavior. So I just wanted to share this with you. I hope that it helps you too. Please subscribe. Please come back. I'm Sarah Stone, and I'll see you next week. Okay. I'm Sarah Stone, and I'm going to be sharing with you 6 more tips on how to get your children. Tip number 1. So just to summarize, number 1. So my 6 tip. So you just quickly run through your 5 senses. Peace out.
Why are you packing your pants?